Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. I'm Philip, and as you can see, I'm on my own today. There was lots of scheduling and vacations and work schedule changes and all sorts of things. We only had one question for this Khyber Shards, or one set of questions from one of our listeners, and I'm going to pick them up as we go through in the coming weeks, as we get back into our pattern of having me and one of the cast members sort of talk about the most recent stuff. Today is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do today is I'm going to present a recap of Chapter 1, our most recent episode, episode 22. Sort of unexpectedly to me, felt at the end like a nice cap on the chapter. It resolved, at least in the short term, the main narrative element that was going on up to this point, as well as moving a step forward on, I think, most of the big inter-character developments that were going on. And the fact that those things happened together is not by my planning, really. It is just, I have a really great group of players. I couldn't have planned half the cool things that have happened. So since that's the case, I wanted to do this because I know for those of you who may be newer viewers, it may be difficult to jump in 22 episodes behind, but you want to watch the newest episodes, especially if you're participating in the watch party hosted by More Than a Mia, then you might want a quick recap. So if you're new to the show, this is a start here place where you can hear a recap and then you can go back and catch up. If you're not new to the show, then hopefully this will just be a useful reminder of some of the big things that have been going on up to this point. It's not going to be incredibly detailed. I'm obviously not going to be able to get into every little thing. We're not going to talk about every deep conversation that happened, just for time's sake. But the major arc of the story, the major plots, I'm going to summarize real quick. So, without further ado, our story began in the 996th year of the Kingdom of Galifar. A kingdom that has all but ceased to exist, as a terrible civil war has torn it apart for almost 100 years. Now, an unexplained cataclysm known as the Mourning has consumed one of the warring nations and forced an uneasy truce. We met our adventurers in the city of Korth, within the vast floating pyramid of the Citadel of the 12, the joint headquarters of the dragon-marked houses, a vast network of arcanely gifted individuals who use their powers over creation, detection, weather, travel, and much else to dominate the economy of the kingdom. With the war tearing the kingdom apart, they sought advantage by training individuals with aberrant dragon marks that can destroy, in combat and espionage. Our heroes are 4 such individuals. Shade, the shifter ranger whose unstable mark gives her power over thunder and lightning. Pogharad, the half-orc barbarian with pyrokinetic abilities. Ezri no Sheeran, the Kalashtar whose mark connects him to the forces of decay and death. And Unidavari Ari Smith, a half-elf whose mark has given him telekinetic powers. All of these heroes have strange and unexplainable gifts through their aberrant marks, and all of them have suffered abandonment and loss because of them. They've been part of the secretive Blackwheel program for some time, when a routine training session under their abusive combat instructor, Falco de Dennis, is interrupted by their mentor, Soren de Medani. Soren gives them the shocking news that an armistice has been declared and peace is on the horizon. With no war, the Blackwheel program must transition to other purposes. However, before those purposes can be revealed, the meeting is interrupted by the arrival of 2 heroes of the program, Thora and Dane. Without warning, the 2 attack Soren and his guards. Thora, her mark set on fire by Soren's magic, orders Dane to get the students out. Following Dane, they fight their way through the Citadel, steal a skiff, and crash land in the city below, where Dane is able to offer some explanation. He explains that he and Thora have learned that the 12 intended to kill all members of the program and wipe out a huge portion of the nation's aberrantly marked individuals in one blow. Giving them what wealth he can, Dane leaves the heroes and returns to the Citadel, hoping to rescue his friends. Left to their own wits, our party takes to the road. Pog and Shade's survival skills see that they do not starve, and Ezri and Ari's street smarts help them to avoid trouble when they are forced to enter towns. And so, over the months, they make their slow way south. Bartering what's left of their wealth, they book passage to Stormreach, a pirate haven across the Thunder Sea. And there they blend into a diverse population as best they are able. Through the good graces of one of the city's many factions, the Swords of Karn, they gain housing in a disused treehouse. They make friends, like the Goliath Smith's apprentice, Solarka, in whom Pog has developed a more than passing interest, and Harish, the owner of a local restaurant called the Ship's Cat. And they make their ends meet through work, mostly. Pog as a bartender, Ezri as an off-the-books herbalist, providing rare herbs and poisons to a black marketeer called Geralt Goodblade. Shade as a jungle guide and hunter. Ari, on the other hand, cannot quite settle down to a normal life and ventures into the Cross District, using his abilities to help those who face injustice, in mostly small ways, returning lost items, encouraging, mentally, unfair trade practices to end. And above all, they try to remain secret. They hide their marks, and they don't use their abilities when they can avoid it. 2 years after leaving the program, the party reach a day where their quiet existence in Stormreach is disrupted beyond easy repair. After an eventful morning involving a mummy attack on the streets, the heroes encounter a small girl, Donabella Brightdoom, being chased by the contents of her kitchen. After rescuing her, they make the discovery that she is like them, bearer of an aberrant mark. Rather than run, the party reveal themselves to her, and to her mother, with whom heated words are exchanged. The next several days are full of distraction. A theft at Pog's workplace leads the party to track down a strange fey thief called a Boggle and destroy its apparent master, a horrid beast known as an Otiug. Later, an encounter with a brightly colored leopard called Calumbra leads Shade to stage a breakout of animals at a House Vatalus auction, while Pog distracts the crowd by picking a fight with one of Stormreach's most famous gladiators, the Minotaur Kolos, with whom Ari has a more than passing interest. Pog manages to win the contest and claim Kolos' famous axe, Fury's Edge, as a prize. Shade manages to free Calumbra and the other animals, but is spotted and finds herself on a wanted poster. Meanwhile, Ezri and Ari encounter Tommel, another former Blackwheel trainee who had been thought dead in the morning. Tommel is now part of the Stormhammers, a violent gang, all of whom claim to have walked out of the morning, being saved by their mysterious leader Mirren, and with which Ari has had his share of run-ins. Tommel wears his mark openly, defying anyone to question it, and seeming eager to bring his own brand of justice to the dragon-marked houses. A few days later, their mourning is disrupted by Donabella's mother. Donabella is missing. After allaying her suspicions that they are behind it, they offer to help find her. Investigation of her room leads them to the Rubble Warren, a dumping ground for old masonry, where they meet Donabella's friends, Cadric, a human boy and leader of the gang, Bajak, a half-orc boy from House Thrashk, Ilya, a drow girl who seems to have some experience in danger, and Levexi, a kobold who picks Ari's pocket before being caught. From them, they learn that Donabella has gone into the dangerous Undercity on a quest as part of a game that they play. The heroes pursue Donabella, only to find they are not the only people exploring below Stormreach. After rescuing a House Vatalus handler named Avia, who was abandoned by her guides to die, and recovering Donabella, the heroes flee a swarming Kruthic hive and escape back to daylight, only to find their way blocked by the Stormhammers. A chaotic scene ensues in which the heroes refuse to leave Avia to Tommel and the Stormhammers, and certain death, and a fight breaks out. All seems lost when a strange costumed vigilante, the White Raven, appears, steals the object that Tommel has recovered from below the city, and flees into the streets, drawing the Stormhammers after him. The heroes, children, and Avia escape, and Donabella is returned to her mother. Her friends depart to their home. The heroes return to their treehouse to discuss what all this means, whether it is an end to the comparatively quiet life they have tried to live up to this point. what they can do about that, and as importantly, what they can do about their marks, which have begun to grow in size and power. But for all the weight that hangs over the day, there are bright spots as well. In a gesture of reconciliation, Donnabella's mother, Mrs. Brightdoom, fed them. Ilya's family find them late at night and bring them what reward they can for the aid they gave to their daughter. It seems that heroing can have its benefits, but do they outweigh the dangers? That has yet to be seen, and is what we'll be focusing on as we move into Chapter 2. I hope that was helpful for anyone who's recently joining us, and maybe even useful if you've been following along, because we are a whole day's worth of content. We're over 24 hours of content now, and there's a lot. And even in just writing that up to record, I was reminded of some things from my notes that I had somewhat forgotten, as well as a lot of things from my notes that I hadn't gotten to do yet. I want to say just a big thank you to everyone who has watched and liked or subscribed or commented. It's really, really hard to get a new YouTube show off the ground. It takes a good deal of luck. And while we're by no means big yet, we are moving in the right direction, gradually and slowly. But as I said at the beginning of this, even if we've written like 4 views per video, we'd still be doing this because it's just a lot of fun and we love playing together. We love interacting with the community, the small tight community that's built up around the show. We want to say a big special thank you to Mia, who streams as More Than a Mia and hosts a watch party on her Discord every Monday when there's a new episode out. That has been just a big help in getting word out about the show, but also just incredibly fun to occasionally sit in on the watch party and chat with other viewers as the show, watch reactions. It's fun for me because rewatching the show with other people, I get to see the players' facial reactions, which I'm not usually catching as we are recording because there's just too much going on. So to all of you who have watched, to all of you who have commented and subscribed and liked, and just to all of you who have been supportive of this show, even if you can't, we want to say a big thank you. A big thank you again to the Geek Pantheon's patrons who make stuff like this possible, make it possible for us to afford the recording space that we use online, to upgrade equipment, to host our materials on various servers and things like that. It's a big, big help, and we wouldn't be able to do this as well as we do it without that support. But even more than the monetary support, the moral support we get from our Patreon community and from those who have joined our Discord, which you can find a link to down below, is just overwhelming and really gives us the encouragement to continue recording this. I mean, we would keep playing it even if we weren't going to record it, but to keep recording, to keep putting out content for you. I hope you have enjoyed this in the way that we have enjoyed this. So I have a question for the community, and I'd love to hear suggestions in the comments down below. What's the title of Chapter 1? Episodes 1 through 22 comprise the first arc of our story, and that was just kind of how it fell out. But I don't have a chapter for it, and I want to know what you think the first chapter of our story should be called. Let us know in the comments below and why, and we'll talk about it, and we'll pick a chapter title from among your suggestions. In the meantime, if you'd like to be a part of our conversation, if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can comment below. You can also join our Discord, a link to which, as I mentioned, is below. And we're on all socials as the Geek Pantheon. New episodes of Khyber Shards are coming out Mondays, with Friday episodes are little extra things like this or our Q&As. Tonight, we're recording the first session of Chapter 2, which will be out this coming Monday. I'm so excited to see what happens, and I hope you are too. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.